Hello and hola to all you Marvel fans. Today we're having two new challengers compete in the Action Figure Pentathlon. Our first contestant is the Traveler of Time, Cable. Facing off against Cable is the oh-so-rad Rogue. Today's contest will have 5 rounds where our challengers can earn up to 10 points per round. I bought these two figures online, but I've also seen them for sale at Walmart and Target. The retail price for them is around $20 each. While you can check out Cable and Rogue's articulation as they stretch for the competition, let's go over some character background information. Cable's parents are Cyclops and a clone of Jean Grey. He first appeared in comics in 1986 as a baby in Uncanny X-Men number 201. Cable was infected with a techno-organic virus by Apocalypse and was sent forward to the future in the hopes of finding a cure. Cable's powers over the years have included telepathy and telekinesis. Rogue first appeared in comics in 1981 in Avengers Annual number 10. Rogue is a mutant and can absorb the memories and powers of others by just having direct skin contact with them. On her first mission, she permanently absorbed the flight and super strength of Ms. Marvel. Now that both contestants are warmed up, let the games begin! Round 1. Beauty. In this round, we examine the appearance of both figures. Cable's costume isn't one that I think very many people would have requested, but it does have a lot of detail. The pants on Cable's legs have sculpted wrinkles, and I believe the mold is shared with Nuke, who I do not own. Cable's chest armor is a sculpted part of his torso, and you can even see that the details extend down his neck. Cable's left arm is infested with a techno-organic virus and has sculpted bands to make his arm look like metal. Even his fingers have little sculpted bands on them. His face sculpt has more molded lines on the left side where the virus resides, and his right eye is bordered by a scar that is both sculpted and painted. Cable's belt is a separate piece, but it's very secure on his waist. When I think of Rogue, this is the costume that pops up in my mind. This is a very iconic look for her, and it translates well to action figure form. The green on her costume has a metallic shine. Her hair is very nicely sculpted, but it's made out of a hard plastic, and it really limits her head articulation. I think her eyes could have been painted a little closer together, but she's still nice looking. The bomber jacket sleeves are actually new sculpted upper arms. This jacket gives me hope that maybe someday we'll get an unbeatable Squirrel Girl action figure. The holes for the jacket sleeves are cut a bit larger than Rogue's arms, so that they don't interfere with her arm articulation, but then we have the problem that at certain angles, we could see Rogue's costume through that gap. Hasbro made an attempt to paint the upper part of her exposed shoulder brown, but not the rest of the gap. I should also note that Rogue's costume is very floppy, meaning that the two overlays on her legs to make her boots like to twist around, and her belt is very loose. And speaking of that belt, look how tiny those pouches are. What could she possibly be storing in there? My theory is that when she visits her grandmother, and her grandmother gives her a quarter with the instructions not to spend it all in one place, she just tosses it in her belt pouch until she could figure out what to do with it. That's right, you heard it here first. Each one of those itsy bitsy little pouches has a quarter in it. Both of these figures look very nice. I love Rogue's costume choice, and though Cable's isn't as iconic, it has plenty of sculpted details. I'm awarding Rogue 9 points out of 10 for this round, and 8 for Cable. Round 2. Balance. Balance is a simple round consisting of how easy is it to get the action figure to stand, and how stable are they once they're standing. Cable is much easier for me to stand. Rogue's ankle joints are weaker than I like. In some areas, the joint grips the ankle tightly, but once you move it slightly forward or back, it gets much looser until the joint grabs it again a little further along. I'm going to use this box to simulate a bumped shelf. Wait, Rogue, we haven't started yet. Okay, whichever figure stays standing the longest earns more points. Well, that was predictable. I'm awarding Cable 9 points because he's pretty stable on his feet. Not as stable as Deadpool or Wolverine from the last contest, though. Rogue is only picking up 6 points because of those ankle joints. Hopefully your Rogue will have better ankles than mine. Round 3, the chair. In this round, we check out both figures' lower articulation to see if they can sit in a natural posture. Cable is a big guy, so I'm really surprised that he can sit so nicely. I'm pleased to find out that his pants do not interfere with his ability to raise his leg up to a 90-degree angle to allow him to sit. Rogue's hard plastic hair makes it so that she can't sit all the way back in the chair, but if we turn her to the side, we can see her posture's fine. I'm not going to punish her for her hair, but just keep in mind that she'll look more natural in chairs with a lower backrest. Those floating boot overlays near Rogue's knees do not inhibit her articulation, but you may need to straighten them out after you move her around. Since both figures can bring their legs up to a 90-degree angle to their body and bend their knees at least 90 degrees, they both earn the full 10 points for this round. Round 4, food. The loser from our last Action Figure Pentathlon was Wolverine, so he had to cook for today's contest. I guess he's still upset he lost to Deadpool? It looks like Wolverine made steak and Pepper's kebabs. This round tests the upper body articulation of the figures to see if we can pose them in ways that make it look like they are enjoying the kebabs. I was curious to see how that chest armor affects Cable, but he can still be posed like he's eating. He can even touch his face. I will note though that Cable's hands can hinge forward fine, but they hinge back less than other figures in this line. While Cable has double-jointed elbows, poor Rogue is stuck with single-jointed elbows, and these elbows move less than 90 degrees. I'm unable to get Rogue in a pose to make it look like she's eating. She cannot touch her face either, only the top of her head. And for some reason, Rogue's right hand is really loose. I lost track of the number of times it just popped out of her arm while making this video. Cable is losing a point here for his limited wrist backward motion, so he earns 9 points. It really annoys me that Hasbro does not put double-jointed elbows on the Lady Legends, and that really lets Rogue down this round. She only picks up 5 points. Round 5, Comic Art Recreation. In this round, we see if action figures can recreate a pose from the comics. For Cable, I picked this pose from Cable and Deadpool number 5 from 2004. I'm just kidding, but this time when they were both piles of sludge was the first thing that popped in my head when I thought I needed a Cable pose. Since Cable comes with 2 big guns, I picked the cover of Cable and Deadpool number 21 from 2004. I initially thought I would need a stand to help Cable with this pose since it's really off balance, but he's actually supporting himself. Okay, this figure's really starting to impress me with its sturdiness. For Rogue, I picked the cover of Rogue number 1 from 1995 with its classic flying pose. The thing that's hurting Rogue the most here is she can't look up because of her hair, but even if she was bald, she still couldn't look up because this torso doesn't have a neck hinge. Still, I think Rogue is doing a decent job. I like her figure much more in the air than on the ground. I'm awarding them both 8 points for this round. Bonus round, Special Talent. In this round, a figure can score up to 3 bonus points for accessories, not including the Build-A-Figure parts. Rogue comes with an ungloved hand and the left leg for the Juggernaut Build-A-Figure. I usually award a bonus point for extra hands, but in this case, we only get 1. That's really weird. I feel like 5 years from now, I'm going to completely forget and wonder where my other Rogue hand is, just because it's so illogical to only give us 1. For a wave that has both Rogue and Juggernaut in it, it's a shame you cannot recreate this scene.
99, big boy. I feel it too.
I'm going to award Rogue half a point for the single spare hand. Cable comes with a big gun, a bigger gun, ammo, and a Build-A-Figure part, a Juggerbutt. The guns fit snugly in Cable's hands, and he has trigger fingers, which is perfect because, you'd have to be completely crazy not to include trigger hands on a gun-wielding figure, right? Cable's ammo clip fits in the bottom of the big gun, and it actually stays in place. Cable's guns do seem kind of thin though, and I have to complain about how the packaging warped Cable's guns. Just look how crooked and twisted this one is. If Cable were to actually fire this, it would explode in his face. I mean, sure, I could probably straighten out the guns with some hot water, but I'm getting really tired of having to give my action figures a spa day to fix packaging warping. Cable picks up 1 point for the guns and ammo. So Cable's total score is 45. Rogue's total score is 38.5. But the contest isn't over yet because your votes matter just as much as mine. Put aside your preference of the characters themselves and let me know in the comments below who you think is the better action figure. The winner gets to relax on the comfy chair, while the loser is stuck on cooking duty for our next contest. Stay tuned for the results show next week, and feel free to check out my other videos for more reviews and toy crafting. Thanks for watching.